Hi everyone, and welcome to my review of Stubbs the Zombie, Rebel Without a Pulse. Released in 2005 by Aspire Media, Stubbs the Zombie was a huge breath of fresh air in the gaming world. Finally getting the chance to play as a zombie and command a horde of undead was something I hadn't really seen in games before, and was a more than welcome addition to the zombie genre. In celebration of the new remastered edition that dropped on Steam in March, I thought it would be fun to revisit Stubbs by doing a review. So let's take a trip down memory lane, as I devour the brains of innocent 50s non-player characters whilst wearing a filthy brown suit. The game begins with you bursting out of the ground in typical zombie fashion between an idyllic couple about to sensually share a hot dog. I can't not think of 1982's Creepshow as I see this scene.
Get your hands off my weenie!
A naive robot guide appears and for some reason gives you tips about how to behave in Punch Bowl.
My hot dog!
Well, that wasn't very nice. Stealing isn't allowed in Punch Bowl. You'll have to give it back.
Oh.
After a short tutorial and tour of the city, Stubbs sees a poster of Punch Bowl bombshell Miss Maggie Monday and immediately falls in love. Making his way into the garden biome of the city, Stubbs spots his boo in person as she is quickly whisked away from danger by a bearded barbershop sleazebag.
Better come with me, Miss Monday. This doesn't look like a safe place for you. Perhaps we can go back to my place.
Nice try, Mr. Skagface!
This event sets you off on your quest to find Miss Monday at any cost. The journey will have you murdering thousands of people, killing rednecks and cops, and even urinating in the city water supply. To aid you in your bloody conquest of Punch Bowl, you have 4 main abilities. These exclusively involve detachment of limbs to be used as weapons. The first and most useful ability is throwing your stomach at people, of which you have a maximum of 3. These are like remote detonation grenades and cause medium damage. The stomachs are really useful for breaking up groups of enemies and closing the range when you're up against firearms. Letting off a massive fart bomb is also an option. This one renders your enemies unconscious from noxious turd gas and allows you to freely feast on their brains. This one's probably the most effective at crowd controlling big packs of enemies, and you'll find yourself using it often. The third ability allows you to detach your head and bolt it into enemies, causing a massive explosion. This is the highest damage ability, but you've got to control its role and it can be a bit clunky at times. It's probably my least favourite ability, as it's time consuming to decapitate yourself and you can often get killed whilst doing so. And lastly, the most useful weapon, the hand.
Here! Oh! Take my hand! Ah! Come on!
This ability allows you to throw your hand and puppeteer a human being. Its use is crucial and is often required in certain areas of the game. It's incredibly useful as it allows you to use any of the abilities of the controlled enemy. If you catch a cop with a gun, you can use his pistol and shoot at other people. This adds a cool dimension to the gameplay that breaks up being a zombie all the time. The one drawback of this ability is that it can't be used on enemies with any type of head protection, so you'll have to find another way of disarming them.
From my cold, dead hands!
You can replenish all 4 of these abilities by eating people's noggin cheese, which also fills up a small portion of your health. If you don't feed often, you'll be handicapping yourself and limiting your undead abilities and allies. Although you do have a passive health regen if you're out of combat long enough, which is better than a poke in the eye with a blunt stick. The incentive for feasting on the living is that shortly after they die, they are reanimated and join the ranks of your goon squad. You can even whistle them to follow you. This is essential in parts of the game that require you to use your deadheads as meat shields or as a distraction. The game manages to conjure up some fairly diverse locations considering its short length. Stubbs' journey starts off in inner city Punch Bowl, but ends up taking you all the way into the country to deal with a redneck militia. These guys have some ridiculous one-liners and are enjoyable to feast upon. There's science labs, farmhouses, ruined streets, and most fun of all, the police station. This area will have you partaking in a dance-off against a flamboyant and aggressive police chief. The gameplay and accompanying soundtrack in this head-to-head is one of the greatest and most memorable parts of Stubbs. No other games give you the opportunity to play Dance Dance Revolution against a cop whilst listening to a Death Cab for Cutie cover of Earth Angel. I haven't included the audio for this section as YouTube will likely send their corporate goon algorithm after me. So what's the verdict? I won't bullshit you, I love this game and everything about it. But one of my few issues with Stubbs is how short it is. The game has such a unique and fun world to play around in, but it only lasts around 6 hours if you really concentrate and don't dawdle. It's a shame they hadn't spent more time developing the world or offering an expansion pack. Aside from that minor qualm, the rest is great. The voice acting is serviceable and hilarious, and at times feels like it was done by Charlton Heston on his deathbed. Having characters constantly shout things out gives some reality and depth to the game, and it makes it feel like you're killing more than just mindless AI. The general feel of Punch Bowl is immersive and colourful, and I never felt bored running around in it. Urinating in a city's water supply is not something you'll come across often in gaming, and as a juvenile man-child, it definitely has my full attention. Stubbs has a really innocent feel to him, and despite being a flesh-eating used car salesman on a lust quest, the whole game feels like a journey of pure innocence that's left me always wanting to come back time and time again. If you find yourself sitting at home eating bread straight out of the bag, wondering why you're feeling depressed, perhaps it's time to take a chance on a game that's a little older and different to what you're used to. I promise it won't disappoint. Again, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next one.